All right, we just hit record. Everyone, welcome to the 2026 Hood to Coast, Portland to Coast Exchange Leader Training.
Whee!
Okay, so first of all, we want to start off by saying this is the most important group that's a part of the Hood to Coast, Portland to Coast relays. This is the most important part. On this call, my name is Jude. This is Cole. We have Felicia. We have Ross. We have Chad. We have a lot of people on here from Hood to Coast that are going to be able to answer calls. They're going to be in, Felicia and Ross are going to be in the chat the whole time answering questions. Chad's going to know about radio communications. So it's going to be a fun. We're going to be here for about the next 6 hours, uh, or maybe hour. So raise your hand if you have done this before. Maybe give us a thumbs up on the screen. A lot of them popping up right now. Okay, good. There's a lot of knowledge on this meeting right now. It's going to be really helpful. At the end, when we have a Q&A, we're going to ask some people that have done this before to kind of give their insight. But until then, it's just going to be a lot of Cole and I talking for a while, and then we'll bring everybody else in at the end. So first, we'd like to explain how hard it is to why you're on one of the reasons you're so important, how hard it is to get into Hood to Coast. Uh, Yesterday we had packet pickup. We had a person drive through. They had done the race 17 years in a row. And this year they were not able to get in because there are so many people trying to get in. So even somebody that's done it for a long time can't do it. And there's really only two ways to guarantee getting to do it. One is to fundraise for Providence Cancer Center, and one is to have an exchange leader because you're so important. So if your team hasn't been giving you hugs and telling you how great you are, you go back after this meeting and say, I kind of get it now. I know why we're so important. Um, Something we want to get out ahead of. I think everyone's going to talk about it today. So we're just going to say it from the very beginning is there are obviously some fires happening around the country and smoke's coming in and out. Uh, want you to know that we're not going to get into it today, but our team, Felicia's talking to folks up on Mount Hood. Our team's looking at different routes. We always have that every year. So as of right now, everything is normal. Hopefully everything is normal to the end, but we want you to know that we always are thinking about that and working on it. Okay. Some of you, most of you, luckily gave us a thumbs up on if you've done this or not. If you haven't done this, let's just kind of make it really simple. What is a relay race? Hood to Coast and Portland to Coast, we have teams of 12. Hood to Coast is a run that starts up at Timberline Lodge, and a team of 12 runs all the way to Seaside. There's one runner at a time. There's two vans, each with 6 people in it. So runner one takes off at Mount Hood. They run to exchange one, where the second runner is waiting for them, and they hand a baton. Now runner two runs to the next exchange, hands the baton to runner three. And that goes all the way for 36 legs. Because we're going to be talking a lot about exchange points. So the exchange point is where the physical exchange happens. What is an exchange leader? What are you? You're in charge of everything that happens in that exchange point. And we're going to go through it all, everything from parking vehicles to make sure people are following race rules. Who are you? We're going to be mentioning a lot today, course coordinators and course officials, because that's who's going to be helping you along the way. A course coordinator is the person, you can kind of think of it as the person that's going to have the most knowledge for you all the time. They're going to be there to help you set up your exchange. They're going to be there if you have any questions, you can call them, you can radio them. And at the end of this, if you haven't heard from your course coordinator already, at the end of this, we'll talk about it, and they're going to be getting a hold of you, sending you emails, and being in constant contact with you. And then course race officials, we have people like Ross that you see, like Cole, like me, that are either in our command center or out in the course, out on the course that you can talk to the entire time and have help also. And then last but not least, we have race control. There's a command center that's here at our office during the race that's staffed with local law enforcement. It's staffed with people like Cole that have enough knowledge with this race that they're able to answer questions that go back 10 years where we've already gone through this, so they'll know what to do. We'll have contact with Felicia, who's had to change course routes before, um, so that you don't ever have to worry about not having contact with the right people. They're all in our race control. Okay, so right now we're gonna dive into the specifics of what it is to be an exchange leader. Cole, you want to share your screen?
Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen. I'm gonna ask that everybody goes off camera for this as well, just to make sure that everybody is paying attention to this section. We're gonna start with race official apparel. Everybody should be able to come to our office and pick up your HEC polo and cap. If you have not already, please swing by. If for a reason you can't, please reach out to us so that we can make sure that we get these supplies to you. It is very important for you to wear this HEC polo and cap for identification, for all of the volunteers to be able to find you, participants, and know who you are out on course. Along with this polo and cap, please remember, bring a long sleeve shirt, jacket. If you're working a night shift, you'll probably want some layers. If you're working a day shift, maybe bring a hat, some sunscreen. And most importantly, wear some comfortable shoes. Do not wear flip-flops. You will be moving around a lot out there.
What to bring to your shift? First and foremost, you're setting the tone for the entire race, so a positive attitude and a smile. Now, there's going to be times, as you all know, that you need to get serious. There's going to be times when you're probably going to have to raise your voice. There's going to be times maybe you almost seem a little cranky, but when you arrive, you're arriving with a positive attitude and a smile because honestly, there's people coming from around the world. The way you start your exchange is how the way they're going to experience this entire race. Also, please bring a flashlight, water, coffee, snacks, gloves, sunglasses, extra layers. Some of you are out there in places where it might get a little bit chilly. A printed map. There are several places on this course that don't have cell phone coverage, specifically 19 exchanges 19 to 31. But if I were you, just all of you, I would bring a printed map. There's no reason not to. And then a fully charged cell phone. And if you have one of those extra battery packs, bring that extra battery pack for your cell phone.
What not to bring to your shift. Children, remember all volunteers must be of the age of 18 years or older. Pets, we all love our furry friends. I wish that my little guy could come out to the course with us, but not everybody feels the exact same way about pets, and we want to make sure that everybody is safe as can be.
Can you enlarge what this looks like on the screen? Some people can't see what we're doing here.
Yes,
Is that a little
indeed.
better, folks? Give a thumbs up if that's a little perf. Sorry about that.
Perfect. Headphones, please leave your headphones at home, especially if you are exchange leader, volunteer. We need to ensure proper communication, so we don't want anybody listening to their headphones while out there. Also, should go unsaid, but no alcohol, drugs, marijuana, or that of any kind. We do have Oregon State Police and police monitoring the course throughout the entire event, and we want to make sure that everybody is adhering to proper protocols. And also, firearms. Please leave your firearms at home. As we said, we have police and other safety and security in place throughout the entire course, and these people will keep us all out of harm's way.
We need to do some definitions. You're going to hear a lot today, and you're going to see in your book when you get to the race course. Um, a race volunteer is a specific job. There's a lot of different jobs. There's race monitor, but there's a race volunteer. And what does a volunteer do? A volunteer is located as a physical exchange point. Their duties include directing van parking. They're not out on the road or highway directing vans, but within the exchange point, they're pushing vans parking. They're keeping spectators away from physical exchange zones, calling incoming participant team numbers. So uh, if the runner's waiting for their next runner, someone will be yelling out, Team 367, 367. Patrolling the exchange zone, picking up garbage, patrolling sleeping fields for where there's sleeping fields.
One quick thing we do want to touch on as well is volunteer placement and how best to utilize your team out there. One of the most important jobs as an exchange leader is making sure you have the right people in the right places. Don't just assign volunteers based on who shows up first. Take a minute or two to understand what people are comfortable with, what they're doing out there, and where they can be the most useful. A few things to keep in mind is put people where they are strongest. Use experienced volunteers strategically. As we know, as we saw, we have a lot of people returning, and pair those experienced people with some of the new volunteers to give them tips along the way. Give people clear assignments, stay flexible. Everything is constantly changing. Check in with your team. And remember, your goal isn't simply to have the position filled, it's to build a strong team that works well together.
Define a volunteer monitor. So hood to coast from Timberline Lodge to Seaside is roughly 200 miles. And along those 200 miles, the runners have to make a turn or two. So we have monitors that direct participants and vans in certain directions. Volunteer monitors are vital as they're positioned along important course turns somewhere near the exchange or somewhere out on the leg. They report to and check in with you. Now, some legs have so many monitors that the exchange leader can't handle them all. And at those, we have exchange monitor leaders. And so some of you on here might be an exchange monitor leader. That means your sole job is to help get all of those people deployed onto the course and stay in contact with them. Not all exchanges will have volunteer monitor positions to deploy. Exchanges that have monitors include exchanges 2, 5 through 14, 17, 18, 20 to 23, 27, and 30 to 35. In your exchange book, look for a section labeled monitors. There'll be a captain's copy. There'll be an official sign in and sign out. So there'll be a map that says M1, M2, M3. That's monitor 1, monitor 2, monitor 3, etc. They'll sign in and sign out. And then monitor driving guide that'll tell them how to get to their location. Before they go, ask them for their cell phone number. Give your cell phone number, be in communication. That way, when they get there, you can let them know if they have any questions, you can answer those questions. Always send volunteer monitors in pairs of 2. Monitors may have a short drive to their location. Make sure they take a flashlight and flashers with them. There'll be flashers within your tote. And then important, distribute a race reflective vest to each volunteer monitor. All volunteers must wear the vest at all times. And then it says on here, equipment sitter, which we don't have a lot of anymore, but this is just good for everyone to know. An equipment sitter is someone there's times in the race when there just aren't participants coming through, but because there's so much equipment at an exchange point or there's so much going on, chaos, maybe the public wants to come by and find out what's happening. Equipment sitters, anybody else that's there is kind of can let the public know and then keep things safe.
We're going to move on to how to read your exchange schematic. Cool.
Actually, one more thing there. You should know that if there are times, maybe you're going to run into, because we try to project when participants are coming through the exchange points, but there will be lulls. So if you have a 2 to 3 hour lull where there's just nobody coming through, we're not trying to be rude. Don't send the volunteers home because there's a time when you might just get crushed. So yes, it'll be boring for a while, but that just has to be kind of a part of it for some of the exchange points.
Absolutely. Great point, Jude. Thank you. For the exchange layout, your exchange schematics, we want to familiarize everybody with this stuff. You'll see in the very top that we have the exchange location, the address that you will actually put into your GPS to arrive on site. The property owner information is up there as well. For the most part, all of the exchange leaders, you'll be not interacting with the property owner itself. Race control, command center, all of us on our end will be in contact with them. You will see on here too the quantities of all of your equipment. We will have equipment trucks arriving early with everything that you need for this. You will see on this, for example, where your barricades are positioned, how they should be set up, facing which direction, your trash boxes. Remember when you're going through all this too, that your van and runner directions are on this map. It is very imperative that we stay as close as we can to these schematics for safety and to confirm that we all have proper communication on our end. The exchange zone is also labeled here, which is probably the most vital part on this exchange schematic. So we set up with pylons, and this is where the actual baton trade-off will occur. Other thing to note on here is our volunteers and their jobs on here, where the volunteers will be, the number of volunteers going to that location as well. Also, please note the parking and no parking sections on these maps. There is very clear areas for us to parking, and for a lot of these areas, when we are on properties that are owned by individuals themselves, we want to make sure that we're being kind to them. If they ask us not to park in that area, we're not going to park in that area.
Okay, arrival time. Ask your course coordinator for advice to help make a decision on when to head out and arrive. Err on the side of there's going to be traffic. So if you're a person that likes to normally show up 1 minute beforehand, give yourself a lot of time because there's going to be traffic. Some of the course coordinators are on here. Johanna, I think I saw. But if you haven't heard from your course coordinator, reach out to us early this next week and we'll get you in contact and they'll help you do that. Main responsibilities, safety. You want to be in contact with race command the entire time. So when you get there, you have a radio, check in with us. Exchange 14 to race control, exchange 14 to race control. We'll get a hold of you. You're doing a radio check. Now we know you're there. We know how to get a hold of you. Vital, 911 in an emergency. 911. So if you have cell phone service there, think of it like any other walk of life, any other part of life, something bad happens, call 911. Some of the places don't have cell phone service, and we're going to talk more about communication coming up, but there's going to be either ham radio operators, or this year, some will have satellite phones or some will have Starlink. We'll get to those in a moment. When you get there, keep and review your exchange book. Do not lose. So there's going to be a book that's in your tote. It's going to have your maps. It's going to have who to contact. It's going to have all the essential information. Review your specific exchange layout that Cole showed you. Set up and take down of the exchange, depending on your shift. So if you're the first shift, set it up. For the last shift, take it down. Assign each volunteer a job based on the exchange schematic. Sign in and sign out all volunteers in your exchange book. So there's a sign in, sign out sheet. Deploy volunteer monitors. Ensure that they know how to get back to the exchange because they need to sign out when they get back. Ensure each volunteer is given a race official shirt. That's this one that I don't know if you can see me right now, but it's a pretty good looking Montana Grizz colored shirt. Give each volunteer a reflective vest. And they can keep those vests, or if you get them back, just put them back into your tote. Give night, early morning volunteers 2 flashers. Ensure safety and enforce race rules. So there's going to be a rule in your exchange book. There's race rules in there. I think an example I used earlier is the no drinking. If someone's putting cuss words all over the outside of their van, you tell them to take that down. If a walker is running, that's breaking a rule. There's quite a few rules in that book, so take a look when you get there. Enforcing parking, sleeping, and crowd rules by looking at your exchange book. I think I saw someone type into the comments section, but it's vital to keep people away from the road. So there's going to be some people put up caution tape to keep people away from the exchange points. Some people put volunteers with megaphones, whatever it takes to keep people away. All right, main contents of the exchange book.
Main contents of exchange book, as we talked about, this will be there when you arrive on site. This will include those lovely schematics that we looked at, a checklist of all your responsibilities as the exchange leader and the volunteers that you will be placing out at your exchange. Resources for emergencies, including specialized phone numbers, but remember, 911 is first in case of any major emergency. Volunteer check-in and check-out sheets. Please make sure to keep track of this. We want to make sure that every team is getting their proper volunteers out, and incident and penalty reports will also be included. If you have to fill any of these out, you will fill it out on site, talking with participants and everything as well, and then be reporting this back to us at the command center and race control as well.
Exchange checklist for the first exchange leader. Check off the equipment list as you place it at the exchange. So there's going to be a Hood to Coast employee that stops there that helps set everything up. So you're not going to have to do that part by yourself, but just make sure you keep checking that off so that you know that you have everything. Confirm all the volunteers and monitors sign in and sign out. Set up your t-shirt box table. So there'll be a little table you can set up with the different t-shirts that you hand out. Ensure each volunteer is issued a reflective vest and wears it at all times. Check out radios. We're going to talk about radios soon, and fill out the form for volunteers calling out numbers. So the radios, sometimes there's radios that you can get a hold of us with, and there's radios that you can talk within the exchange point, but we need to make sure we know who has those radios. Set up trash bins and clear stream recycling receptacles, and then train your replacement. So if you got there first, just kind of when the other exchange leader gets there, give them a rundown of what's been happening.
And the checklist for the closing shift or the last exchange leader. Remember to radio command center when the last participant is leaving that exchange. All we need is their bib number when they are leaving the exchange. So remember just bib number and time of them exiting. Excuse volunteers only after they have been confirmed by the course coordinator as well. Remember to do a final trash sweep and clean the exchange. Some exchanges will have dumpsters on site that they can go straight into. Other exchanges, our equipment truck will be coming through, and if there is no dumpster on site, we will load that trash up into our equipment trucks and bring it down course. Remember to collect all of the equipment to clean the stakes, barricades. Once again, our equipment truck will handle with loading all of that stuff up and getting it cleared out. Reflective vests will go into the blue box. Remember to collect all the radios and place them in their specific box as well. And give the exchange books and radios and any remaining official shirts, and also lost and found. This is something that happens at every single exchange. Give this to your course coordinator as well.
Your tote at your exchange contains reflective vests, flashers, garbage bags, gloves, and small tools.
As far as volunteer shirt distribution goes, you'll set up the volunteer shirts on the table that we already spoke about, and you will assign one of the volunteers there to distribute these shirts. You will ask the volunteer for their shirt size. It is first come, first serve. We tried making sure that we got every size there, but it is who gets there first as far as getting the correct size. Only one shirt per assigned volunteer, as each shift needs to make sure they all get a shirt. And shirts are for the signed up volunteers only.
An exchange zone is where participants pass off their team wrist wrap. That's the same thing as a baton. And waiting participants will line up in single file. We say that. We laughed earlier when we saw that because some of you know they're not waiting in single file. Everybody's trying to get around that exchange point. So we're going to do our absolute best at that exchange zone to keep only the next runner or the next walker at waiting at the exchange point. Have everybody else go as far away as they can. The next runner or walker must be wearing a reflective vest from 7 p.m. to 9 a.m. Otherwise, they're not permitted to participate. Headlamp or flashlight, along with a front and back LED flasher, are required from 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. So there are two different times there. There's the reflective vest, 7 p.m. to 9 a.m., and the LED flasher, 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. Can you hit mute all again? Sweet. Like we said, only allow the next participant in the exchange zone. Do not allow vans to stop to just drop their participant off. You have to get them into the parking area before you can allow the participant to get out of their van. Extra gas for generators is available for emergency needs. You radio race control, and we'll coordinate that for you with a motorcycle group to get gas out to you if you run out of gas for your generators. A wrist wrap is used as a baton. It's exchanged. Yeah, we already said that part. Parking. Oh, wait, that's true. If you lose your wrist wrap, you can just give a high five. So if someone says, oh no, I lost my wrist wrap, just say from this point forward, just give a high five to the next person.
Parking. Parking is a vital role for this event. Obviously, we have thousands of cars coming in and out, and safety is priority. Having a volunteer at the entrance of your parking yelling, van coming in, van coming out is a key thing, mainly because you have so many people walking up to the exchange zone, walking back to their vehicles. We want to make sure that everybody is aware of what's going on with their surroundings. Do not let vans stop as they enter the parking area. Drivers should be directed to park safely and quickly. We're going to fill in parking spots from the back, aka farthest from the entrance, so that backups don't occur on the road. Work as a team to direct the vans into the parking area, and do not stop or attempt to flag in vehicles. We will have flaggers out at a couple of the exchanges that were our priority where we do have backups, and it's their role to do that. Vans are not allowed to drop off participants as they are parked until they are parked safely within the parking area. Once again, we already mentioned it, but do not drop them off at the exchange point. Have people continuously move on. And make sure each volunteer is using a flashlight, as we already talked about, starting at that 6 p.m., and is always wearing a reflective vest.
Replacement volunteers happens a lot. Someone gets sick the night before, they have to have a new person come, so we don't have their name at the exchange point. So, and they, as we said, they have to sign in and sign out. So just have that new person sign in next to the person they're replacing's name in the book, cross out that name and put in theirs, sign in, sign out. Oh, radios. Chad, are you on here with us? Can you unmute?
Yep, I'm here.
Terrific. So,
Good.
so Chad's in charge of our radio protocol. He's the one who sets up the entire radios. We have commercial radio access. So DeCoast has its own system from Mount Hood all the way to Seaside. So we have to have someone that kind of understands that entire system. That's Chad. He also is responsible for getting all the ham radio operators and being in contact with all those ham radio operators. So Chad, and use simple terms here. Imagine you're talking to somebody like me. How do you use one of these radios that's coming out there? How do I turn it off?
So I'll put in chat a picture of it. So on the commercial radio, there's only two knobs on the top. One is power and volume. One is channel. So simply turn it on. It takes 30 seconds for it to do a self-check, and then you'll hear the tones. And you'll see on there that there is a smaller channel number and then a larger text that says HTC main 1 or it'll say exchange 4. So you really care about the names, not the actual channel number, because that channel number changes depending on where you're at the course. So one thing to keep in mind on the commercial radios is, like Jude said, we have a course wide. So if you're on HTC main 1 or TAC 2, you're talking to everybody across the whole course. So
Can
the
I
exchange
interrupt?
leader,
I'll interrupt for 1 second there.
Yep.
So if you're out at Exchange 33 and you want to get a hold of us, you go to HTC main 1 and you say, and Chad, tell me if I'm right here. Exchange 32 to race control, exchange 32 to race control. Is that the correct term that they're going to do?
perfect.
Okay. And so when that happens, and let's say you have some information that includes someone's name. Let's say it's something that you don't want to send out to everybody on the course. What we're going to say back to you is copy that exchange 33. Please switch over to TAC 2. Please switch over to TAC 2. And you're just going to turn that knob and you're going to see on the screen and you can go to TAC 2. Is that all correct, Chad?
Yep.
Okay. Now, when you're on TAC 2, no one else can hear you. Now you're direct communication with just race control and the exchange point itself. What you have to remember at the end of that, and we'll try to remind you, is go back to main 1. Because you want to be on main 1 or if we tell you to go somewhere else. All correct, Chad?
Yep, correct.
Okay. Now, the other thing would be if we're communicating within that exchange point. So you want to have, let's say, there's someone at the exchange point with the radio, and there's someone a mile down the road that's looking at the team numbers coming, and they want to talk to each other so they can get those team numbers so that someone can yell out the team numbers. How do we communicate there?
Yeah, so that's if you keep turning that channel knob and you get past TAC 2, you want to go to like channel 4 exchange, channel 5 exchange. Any of those are fine as long as everyone's on the same one. You just don't want to have the bib number callers or the parking patrol. You don't want them on main 1 or TAC 2 because that's going to overwhelm the whole system. So you're far enough away from each other. If everyone goes to channel 4 exchange, you're going to be fine. One caveat to that is each exchange will have a minimum of 3 radios. And the reason why there's an odd number is that's for the exchange leader to always be on main 1 or TAC 2 if race control moves you there. But you always want to be on main 1 with somebody so that if we need to get a hold of you or if we get notification that there's emergency services coming through your exchange, we can quickly communicate with you and let you know what's coming down the pipe.
Is there anything, Chad, so we talked about main one, we talked about TAC 2, anything else? I guess I know. When you push that button to talk to everyone, hold it down for 2 seconds and then start talking. Because oftentimes what'll happen is you hit that button, start your talk, and we're only going to hear the second half of what you're saying, and then we have to have it repeated. So push that button, hold it down for 2 seconds, then start talking.
Yeah, I'm going to try to do this, see if this works, but
Okay.
you should hear that tone. Once you hear that tone, you can talk.
Okay.
If you talk before that tone, no one heard you. So.
Okay, ham radio operator. So as cool as that radio system is, there's some places that the line of sight's not quite there. We're deep in the woods, whatever it is. I always use Exchange 29 as my example. Everyone's got their example. But ham radios are another one of the ways that we can have better communication. Chad, can you explain what it is, what a ham radio is and how it works?
So ham radios, they can all talk back to race control as well. Or if for some reason we lose communication with race control, they're trained enough that they can talk to themselves and coordinate with whatever you need. So if you can't get a hold of anybody, the ham radio operators are there. They train for this all year. This is actually a good exercise for them for some of the larger groups that are out there. But they're kind of your go-to, and they're going to be able to get a hold of whoever they need to get a hold of, either it be 911 or race control if you can't get to them on the other radios.
So recommend when you get to your exchange, go find that ham radio operator and introduce yourself so that you can have communication and in an emergency how to get a hold of them. And then is that everything ham radio wise, Chad?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
They'll help you with whatever you need. So if you can't figure out the commercial, they'll help you with that. So and really use them as a resource. They'll back you up with whatever you need help with.
And then this is new and exciting this year is in some of those places where maybe hopefully ham would always work, but in some of those situations where neither of those would work, we're going to have satellite phones or Starlinks. Cole, do you want to talk about satellite phones and Starlinks a little bit?
Yeah, of course. This will not be at every single exchange. It will just be at some of the ones that have a little bit more difficult communication areas. As Jude said, Exchange 29 is always a hot topic. Please know that these will be stationed with the ham radio operators at these designated exchanges. If you are at an exchange with Starlink, for example, only the exchange leaders and the ham operators will be permitted to connect to the Wi-Fi. If you are on the Wi-Fi, you are allowed to text or call our command center number, which is here listed. And
that number will be on the phone itself, so you don't have to write that down now, but on that phone, those numbers will be there.
Absolutely. If you do not have an iPhone, you have an Android or anything, and texting is not over Wi-Fi, you can also email us at operations@HCC Relay. If you are on the Starlink Wi-Fi, you can message us over anything from logistics to operations, general questions, and then also, of course, emergencies. Sat phones are a different story. Sat phones are only to be used in case of emergencies. Once again, these will be stationed with the ham operators, and they will have all the guidelines and how to use these sat phones set up and everything there. But this is specifically for those 911 emergencies where 911 will be contacted first, and then race control and command center will be notified afterwards.
So just to say emergency, that's life-threatening, that's broken bone, that's something very serious. Running out of toilet paper sucks, and we're all going to go through that, and you're going to be getting a hold of us, not a sat phone emergency. So let's use ham radio operators for something like running out of toilet paper, satellite phones, real emergencies. Okay, where are we at here? Reflective vests. During all hours, volunteers must wear one of the provided reflective vests, and then make sure you bring a flashlight. 6 p.m. to 7 a.m., all runners and walkers must wear a reflective vest, have an LED light flasher in the front and back, and carry a flashlight or wear a headlamp. So you can either hold that flashlight or wear a headlamp, one or the other. Don't have to do both. Reflective vests are only required through 9 a.m. for runners and walkers. Runners and walkers who do not abide by this rule are not allowed to participate. Communicate this to volunteers. So let your volunteers know that they have to have. And then if you're having trouble, you don't have to ever get in a fight with a participant that's saying no, but let them know you're documenting it and then contact us at Race Control.
Headphones, we're talking about headphones for the participants themselves. In-ear is discouraged, but they are not banned. They are allowed to have in-ear ones. Music devices that are outside the ear, definitely encouraged. The main thing is participants need to be able to hear instructions and general traffic noises. This is safety, safety, safety. We want to make sure everybody is aware of their surroundings and also listening as they are coming into exchange zones so that they can follow instructions.
Penalty report. As we mentioned, there's a lot of rules. Fill out, and you're going to see it in your exchange book. So fill out the team, the van, it's going to be a whole bunch of prompts. You just fill all those out. If they're doing something illegal or against race rules, write that down, and then you're going to contact Race Control. Save all those in your book. But if there's something really big, like this is a disqualification, big, that's when you contact us, and we're going to switch over to TAC 2. It's not going to be on the main line. And we're going to talk about it and determine whether we're pulling them off the course or not. But fill out those penalty reports.
Emergencies. Once again, we know we've talked about this, but we want to reiterate ourselves time and time again. Call for any life-threatening emergencies. You will call 911 first, and then you will inform your course coordinator and Race Control afterwards. If your cell phone does not work, as we discussed before, you will go over to those ham operators, and they will follow the proper protocols to get the right emergency services in line. You'll radio the following sentence to us after you've contacted 911 of Race Control. I have an emergency at exchange 15. Please repeat, and then you will follow the instructions and questions that we have for you. Other procedures for this will also be located inside the cover of that exchange book.
Sleeping fields, it's extremely important and has been communicated to participants that they must sleep only in designated roped off sleeping fields located at exchange 18, 24, 30. Tents and canopies are allowed at exchanges 18 and 24, but no tents and canopies at exchange 30. Have volunteers check for participants seen sleeping on the ground next to a vehicle, and if so, they must be requested to move inside the vehicle or designated sleeping field. Failure to comply with this results in disqualification. What we're trying to prevent there is they're tired, they lay behind a vehicle thinking this is a nice shady area, and then someone backs up. So let's keep them away from vehicles.
This is a vital part. Do not direct traffic on the road. Only certified flaggers can direct roadway traffic. We do have certified flaggers at various points throughout the entire course. Remember, volunteers can only direct vans, any other participants in the exchange zone and parking areas, but never on the roadways themselves.
Van signs, van 1, make sure they have their white sign in there, blue or teal sign for van 2. That gives them access to the correct parts of the course. Ask your course coordinator what color sign should be allowed into your exchange point. So each team has 2 vans. What we're trying to prevent is all the vans showing up to the exchange points. We only want one of the team vans in the exchange points.
At the shift change, give the new exchange leader the exchange book and brief them on the details of how your specific exchange has been running, any tips that you learned over the last couple of hours, any problem areas. Remember to note the volunteer and volunteer monitors if it's pertinent, and their shift times as well. It's imperative that we are all constantly in communication with each other and that everybody has all the information during these shift changes.
Did we already talk about replacement for a no-show?
No.
Perfect. So yeah, go to Honey Bucket.
Move on to Honey Buckets.
No, I'm sorry. That was for, so please notify your course coordinator if the person that's supposed to be replacing you doesn't show up. Because that's a pretty dang big deal. And I don't know if maybe it's happened twice in the history of the race, because that'd be people on this call know how important it is. But if for some reason your exchange leader doesn't show up, make sure you contact us right away and course coordinator.
For honey buckets, we know TP is always a question of topics. Please look inside the units. Usually extra TP is stored in one of them before calling the course coordinator. We also will have in those exchange books pumping schedule and the number of toilets on each site. For media, if media comes and they're asking, hey, how's it going out there? Go ahead, feel free, answer those questions. But if there's any specific questions about the event, have them contact Dan Floyd or HEC PR at the phone number listed inside the cover of your exchange book. Also, feel free, you do not need to talk to the media at any point. That is not your job. It's just if you want to saying, yep, we're having a great time out here.
Miscellaneous, we recommend talking with your course coordinator to determine date and time that you meet on site with them before. So if you want to go out onto the course and actually see your exchange point, you can contact our office. We have, if your coordinator can't do it, we can make sure somebody can meet you there. So let us know. Course maps, training material, and resources can be found on the Exchange Leader website. If you don't have that Exchange Leader website, also reach out, let us know. Always give, this is, before the Q&A, we're ending it with this. We mentioned 911 a million times. That's our resource for emergencies. We talked about how to get a hold, if cell phones aren't working, we talked about how to get a hold of emergency services. On top of that, always give Oregon Department of Transportation, police, sheriff's offices, EMT, official race vehicles the right of way on roads and cooperate with their instructions. Everyone's looking out for the best interests of keeping participants and community traffic safe. So we have the right to be at those roads. Let's say something on Highway 30. ODOT is giving us the right to do that. So if they come and they say they want to do something, they want to make a change, we're listening to ODOT, okay? You can still get a hold of race control and we'll work with ODOT, but make sure that we don't ever get in kind of a yelling match with them when they're trying to do their best to make changes and help us out. So with all that said, we're going to minimize this screen here and we're going to kind of open this up for a Q&A. I saw that Felicia's been responding to a million questions in here. But if you haven't had your question answered in there, why don't we do one of the, you can raise your hand and ask us your question, and we're going to do our best to answer. And we might pull in people like Johanna or Felicia or Ross to help us if we can't answer it. Give us a, or just go ahead and start because we can't necessarily see everyone.
Yeah, I have a question.
Perfect.
I'm just having a hard time looking for the captain's copy.
When you say
For the monitor leader, monitor exchange leader, captain's copy. I've looked through the documents. I'm not really sure where to find that.
Which captain's copy, which piece are we talking about?
Let's see.
That's for placing the monitors on the course. They'll
Yes.
be in your binder. But we can go ahead and email you copies of those.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Susie, will you put your email in the chat? I'll make sure.
Yeah,
you send
no
it.
problem. I'll do that right now. Thank you.
Thanks for stumping us on question one. That was embarrassing. Go ahead and just shoot out another. You don't have to raise your hand to start.
This is Jeff Hart, Exchange 6.
Hey, Jeff.
I think I'm labeled as a monitor leader.
Mm-hmm.
Exchange 6 is pretty massive.
Yep.
I never quite understand when a volunteer is a monitor, because some of them are just a couple hundred yards away telling a runner to turn
Yep.
on a sidewalk
Yep.
versus the people that are out on the roads, you know, half mile, 2 miles away. Where's the
Great.
line there?
Good. Terrific question. So the monitors are never, you're never going to see the monitors from the actual exchange point with your eyes. And the monitors themselves are on a separate map with that M1, M2, M3, and they're out away. Sometimes you can walk to the spots, like I'll say exchange 12, for example. Their monitors walk out onto leg 13. They go across a bridge and they can walk there. But it's It's not those ones that you see coming in and out of the parking lot. Those aren't monitors. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. The distances are pretty, you know,
Yeah.
the line of sight for a exchange that's like a mile is pretty tough, but I get it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there are some within a mile, but you're not the ones you're describing coming out of parking, like Exchange 6 monitors aren't right there in the exchange point. Keep them
I have
coming.
a question.
Okay.
So this is my first year doing this. I'm very nervous. Seems like there's a lot of information to remember. So when I get there and I have any problems or questions or I'm not sure how to do something, is there going to be somebody there or do I have to continue to use the radio to contact you guys?
Great question. So first of all, I get the nerves. That makes sense, right? Where you're in charge of an exchange point at the largest relay race in the world. So it's kind of cool. I mean, this is unbelievable. But you have access to people. So if you're you're in charge of the exchange by yourself. You are the number one person at that exchange. But whoever gets there for when the exchange opens up, we'll have an employee there or a course coordinator. So for example, Johanna's on this call. She has exchanges 7 through 11. And so when you get to exchange 7, Johanna's going to be there. We're going to have employees that are there that help set up the exchange. Johanna's going to say to you, and she's done this for a long time, but she's going to say, here's my cell phone number. Oh, you don't have cell service. Here is how you radio me. She's going to explain the communication process. And then you're going to check in with us. So you're going to know you have communication with us at the command center. So are you alone? To a degree, you are. You need to be assertive and you're making decisions. But if you run into something where you just don't know the answer or you just don't feel comfortable, then you get a hold of Johanna or you get a hold of us.
Okay, yeah, because I believe I'm in Exchange 31.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
um,
31's fun. And there, like I said, there will be somebody. So for 31 we won't go through every exchange, but you at the beginning, there's going to be somebody from our office that's worked here for years and he's going to come through there. And then for the second half of Exchange 31, it's going to be this gentleman that has also runs exchanges 1 through 6, who's done this forever, has a background in the military. And then you're going to have contact with us and ham radio operators. So you have access to people.
and you said that a course coordinator should be contacting us.
Yes, so you should get an email and
Okay.
if you don't get an email by Monday or Tuesday, why don't you shoot us an email and we'll get you in contact. I think
Okay.
Johanna's going to fill something in there too.
And then also you
Oh,
said that there's an Exchange Leader website. I don't know if I missed it or not.
yes. Can we put that in the chat? We'll see if it pops up in the chat, and if it doesn't, then we'll make sure we send that out again.
Okay.
Yeah,
Johanna?
yeah, thanks. I was just going to add that you do have a volunteer assigned to help with assigning volunteers. And I always recommend using them as kind of your right hand, your assistant, somebody who can help you do the things while you're out making sure everything is where it's supposed to be. And sometimes they can be the person that holds the radio for you so that you're not having to worry about having that radio up to your ear or all of that while you're out wandering the exchange.
So the book that you guys keep talking about at the table, so like when I get there, for example, it'll have instructions on like what I should be doing first when I get there and then throughout. I mean, I know we've kind of gone through it, but
Yeah. Yes, but it's very similar to what we just said. So you're going to want to be a leader and you're going to get a feel because it's specific to your exchange. Exchange 30, we know that we want to concentrate on making sure that those sleeping fields are being protected, right? Exchange 6, what would be another? Exchange 12, we want to make sure that it's really important for those monitors to be out to make sure they're going across the river. So you'll get a feel pretty quickly for what's important and how hard some it's really hard to park vehicles. Some it's really simple to park vehicles.
right. Okay.
Somebody typed in here about last year at Exchange 26, ham radio operator's battery died and how we will prevent something like that from happening or address that for this year. That's one of those I mean, somebody's going to have something like that happen. That's a good example. Like you're going to have random things like batteries at a ham radio site going down. That's why we added sat phones this year, try to get a hold of us through satellite phones. But I think just do your absolute best. If you have to have somebody getting it, say your ham radio battery dies, put someone in their vehicle and have them drive until they have cell phone service and get a hold of us. Just think on your feet.
And you can report all this to your course coordinators and talk about all of it with us at Race Command as well. We will always have your back on making sure to solve any of these issues. We have extra gear throughout the entire course as well, and people roaming the course to help with these situations.
Dylan from Exchange 25 is new to this and wants to have any insight for 25. Let's wait and see what your course coordinator says. So they're going to reach out to you. You're going to be able to ask a lot of specific questions for something like Exchange 25. Oh, somebody said they haven't been able to pick up their polo or hat. Just go ahead and come in and get that anytime during the week. We have people. What hours should people come in? I don't even know.
8 a.m. to 3 p.m. any day of the week, Monday through Friday. We are here.
Shoot up, yell out more questions.
Yeah, I don't really have a question, but I know I've been doing this probably 10 or 11 years now.
What
I'm at
exchange?
Exchange 18, and the last few years we've not had an exchange monitor show up there because they do multiple exchanges and they forget to come over to 18, and so I have to figure out somebody to take those monitors out there.
Okay.
Is there something we can do to make sure the monitors know they have multiple exchanges they're doing, not just one?
Are you talking about monitor leaders?
Yeah, monitor leaders.
So monitor leaders are coming from one exchange point, and sometimes they're going on to two legs, but they're always coming from one exchange point. Why don't you, Ross, can you put an email address in here that so they can send a question so specific like that too, that we can respond with to make sure that, because if that's been happening for 2 years, we got to.
Yeah, Henry, it's that same person, Kevin Blair. If you sent your question to him for anything regarding Exchange 18, I'll make sure he gives you a call next week.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you, Henry.
So I'm hearing that there are different titles that I'm not used to. I've been doing this for 3 years at the Poop Exchange, Exchange 30.
Oh, come on.
So, yep, we'll replace that word, but I'm being nice. And so I'm seeing monitor leaders, doing this for 3 years now. I even have a volunteer checklist that I've created, for that, which worked really well last year. But is it possible to get a list of these other exchange leaders that I'm going to be working with and their contact information? And then I believe we won't have the list of the volunteers until we get there, correct?
That part is correct.
And that's fine. But the other exchange leaders, I think that would be great. And if anything, I believe Kevin, instead of Chad Sperry, it's Kevin this year, which I would really like to encourage, if he's on this line, encourage to have a meeting like this for Exchange 30 to just kind of have the conversation in advance. I was trying to relay some of this information to these new folks that were coming in and kind of based on my little check sheet that I had. So that would be great. What I also want to ask though, which I'm like, really? So I'm looking at the opening and closing checklist and it shows that the equipment truck's going to arrive at 10:54. That's not, we're now dark and they're not going to be showing up that late, are they, guys?
Or
Exchange 30 is a little bit different. So I don't know which one where are you?
30. No, I'm at 30.
I know.
Where I've got 5 parking lots.
Exchange 30 is a little different just because we have parking volunteers show up earlier.
Yes.
6:45 is our first shift. We are actually, once again, this is a special scenario. Our equipment will actually be there about 6:45 as well.
Excellent.
And that's the same for 24 and 18.
Okay. Yeah. Since it's a major exchange. Okay. Got it. Good. Yeah. Cause I was like, that is not going to work because we've got vans coming in a heck of a lot earlier than that. Awesome. Yeah. So
thank you. Appreciate it.
Kevin to reach out. That would
he
be
will
awesome.
for sure.
Thank you.
Kevin. Somebody else just had somebody else have a question? I thought I saw one come by. Keep shooting them out, guys. Jeff Smith, I know you have a question. Oh, muted.
I have tons of questions, but you're answering so well. I'm going to
Oh,
keep
good.
quiet
Thank you.
for once.
I've got one. I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go. Thanks, April.
Oh, okay. So the volunteers are coming in groups at the same time, departing groups at the same time. When you are transitioning the volunteer groups as the exchange leader, are you kind of going around and tapping the volunteers out?
Exactly. So when when those new volunteers get there, you want to be ready. So oftentimes on those second shifts, you can say, go talk to, because maybe by this time you know names. It depends on the exchange point. You can either go talk to that person, you're taking their job and just have them train their replacement. Or if you have a full understanding of how important that job is, you can specifically tell them what to do and then walk them over to the location.
Okay, perfect. So the volunteers will trust that, okay, the new volunteers here, I've trained them, I'm now good to go.
Yeah, and both have to sign in and sign out. So
yeah. Okay, perfect.
That's the good thing is they're not going to necessarily have run away because they have to come and actually sign out on that sheet.
Got it.
The volunteers are actually set up overlapped, so they have plenty of time to sign in and sign out and talk to each other before each thing too. So
exactly. And oftentimes monitors and volunteers are showing up at 2 different times because monitors have longer to get to their location.
All right, this is maybe a silly question, but the standards, this is year 2 as a leader. God, I can't even count now years of volunteering for this. I know for those of us, I'm out at 32. Those of us that are at the later exchanges, we always end up running out of trash bags. It's like by the time you guys get to us, like the rest of the exchanges have all gone through stuff. Is there an issue if we pre-plan and bring big trash bags with us?
Well, I mean, that's kind of amazing if you did that. And we could also try to do a better job on our side. How about we try to add more garbage bags? And if you're willing to do that, that's unbelievable.
Okay, awesome. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, Diana. Yeah, I just know in all the years I've been doing this, like inevitably those last exchanges, we're calling for trash bags constantly. Trash bags and toilet paper, right? Those are the two.
Exactly. Toilet paper is the tough one, right? That one we can't guarantee, but yes, trash, that's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Tammy, Exchange 17.
Hey, Tammy.
I just was looking at my job and I noticed that it says Exchange Leader Monitor or something. 1718.
Yep, monitor leader. Yep. So you're the one whose responsibility is you're going to be at the exchange point, and the monitors are going to get there, and those are those people that have to go out on the course and they have to turn runners and turn walkers. They stand on the corners of roads. Your responsibility is to help get them to their locations. So you're going to have a map there. You're going to have them all sign in and sign out. You're going to get all their cell phone numbers. You're going to give your cell phone number to them, and you're in contact. Say, text me when you get to your exchange so you know. You're going to make sure that 2 people, they go in pairs instead of 1 at a time.
Okay, so I'm going to have the list for 17 and 18, but I'll be at 17.
Yeah, exactly. So yes,
okay.
But 17, 18 means legs 17 and 18. It doesn't mean exchanges.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Because, so I kind of said at the beginning, but I did a poor job. Leg 1 finishes at exchange 1. And then the next runner, leg 2, starts leaving exchange 1. So leg 1 finishes at exchange 1. Leg 2 starts running away from exchange 1. So,
okay, perfect. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Can you guys talk a little bit? In the past, we've had situations where people have been told, different teams, to start leapfrogging at a certain point.
Oh yeah.
If we're on the later shifts, is that something that's likely to happen? And will the shift leaders be informed of that? And will we have to start communicating that?
That's April. What a good question. Sorry, we didn't bring that up. So leapfrogging is the course can only stay open for a certain period of time. So if let's say Cole and I were on a team, that team is obviously going to be wicked slow. So even though we thought we were going to get in by then, it's not going to work. So all of a sudden, our people that work for Hood to Coast, our course coordinators, and some of the employees are going to realize at some point, most likely about exchange 26-ish, they're going to start noticing they're not going to make it in time. So we need to have participants running or walking at the exact same time. So we're at exchange 26. We tell them you never make the decision. One of our employees comes up, one of the course coordinators comes up and tells you we're doing this. Usually we give them the option to do this first, and then at some point we'll make them do it. But exchange 26, you have a runner take off, and then that van drives away to the next exchange point, and they let their next runner out, and they start running at the exact same time. So now 2 legs are being run at the same time. And we ask them to write their times down. So write down how long it took to run those legs, because now the timing's going to be all off. So they write down those times, and then they get to the finish line and they give that information to the timer, and that's how they figure out what their actual finish time is. And that was a lot. So maybe for those that we can see, can you like do this if that made any sense? Okay, that's amazing. Whoever asked that, does that help, April? Maybe?
Yeah, it makes sense. So somebody will tell us if we
Absolutely.
need to be communicating that.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
Thank you.
And if you're in the first 24 exchanges, you don't need to worry about that word leapfrogging at all. It's only on the back end of the course.
Perfect.
And we get
Thank
people
you.
in so much earlier now that it's just not as many people as it once was. Keep them coming. Don't be afraid. We have to be assertive, remember? Any more questions in this chat thing?
Okay, so I have a question.
Yeah.
So I believe my shift is from 7:15 a.m. until 3:15 p.m. on Saturday. So would I be considered one of the last people at my exchange?
So say that again. I'm sorry.
So my time frame, if I recall, is that I'm supposed to be at my exchange is from 7:15 a.m. until 3:15 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's on a Saturday,
What exchange?
31.
Oh, okay, so you won't be the first exchange point.
No.
Is that what your question was?
So I would be towards the end. So would I be considered the last shift at that exchange?
What time do you get? So we won't go through this with every single person, but for this example, what time did you say you're done?
3:15.
Yeah, you close it down.
Okay, close it down. Okay.
And if anyone else has those questions, feel free to email us also. We can let you know if you're the first or the last or the middle.
Thank you.
Thank you. And yes, the recording will be available. We'll email that out to everyone. Felicia, Ross, did we miss anything in the chat that we should bring up? Nope. Let's see here. Oh, this is interesting. Steve said we should start mentioning that the light on the cell phone doesn't count as a flashlight. That's a really good point. Maybe you guys, we'll start that with you. Bring your flashlight, don't bring your cell phone flashlight, and then we'll try to get that communicated also. Does HTC have a policy about dogs with teams at exchanges? The manual's not clear on this. It's not clear for a myriad of reasons. We don't want a lot of pets out. Well, we don't want pets at all. But if there's someone that is sight impaired, they can have a dog with them. In fact, we have a few teams that do that. But no, we don't really want pets or it's just not a safe place for pets. Last year I had a couple of volunteers show up that were turned away from the exchange. They signed up, so they came to exchange 33. It was very confusing on what to do with them. I did. Okay, yeah. So if anybody shows up and you don't have them in the book, go ahead and have them write their information down. Have that volunteer just write down their name, have them sign next to it, have them put the team number, get as much information as you can so that we can give them credit for arriving. And if you have somebody and have them sign the waiver also. And then just if I know it was confusing for you, but just use those extra people. Because it's happening at your exchange. That means statistically, it's most likely it's happening at every exchange. So just have those people that come and have them sign in and put them out there in the exchange. My team asked if a flashing LED had to be a certain color. No, it does not.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
Several years I've been at some of the smaller exchanges like the Gravel Pit and some other ones where we've had like a shortage of volunteers
Yeah.
because they either went to other ones accidentally. I know you addressed like if you have an overage, but like what's some advice for dealing with like if you have shortages like those smaller ones, it's so fine-tuned for people. If you're missing a few, then now you've got people running really long shifts, and you know that can be a detrimental experience. I'm at 24 this year, so I'm hoping there's not going to be a shortage of people, but it might be good advice for some of the other ones.
Well, first of all, if we could do a round of it, we won't do a round of applause, but if we could for doing that Gravel Pit, nice work, Neil. That ain't easy. So kind of the question is, you have a certain amount of people. That's where I was saying you have to determine when you get there what seems important. So I would say on the Gravel Pit, it's important to get people off the road as much as you can, park them deep because there's not a lot of parking, right? So park them, have them go all the way through that pit up on the hill, have them come down and have them parked as deep in there as you possibly can. So maybe a few people helping with parking. And then it's important to keep people off the road, away from that exchange point. You just have to determine, okay, man, I'm going to be dramatic because this won't happen. But let's say you show up and only 3 volunteers are there. You just need to determine after you've told us what's the most important 3 things these people can do. And it sure looks like we don't have a parking. So getting them off the road's important. It looks like keeping people away from the road's the most important thing. Let's put up this caution tape. Let's have them just screaming through a bullhorn. Kind of use your leadership skills, and then also get a hold of us at the command center and say, hey, I have 3 people. What are the 3 most important jobs I should be doing? We'll be able to tell you.
Yep. And utilize your course coordinators out there as well. Your course coordinators will have all of the knowledge and be able to help you out along the way. And if they have extra personnel, we'll be able to give you a couple extra hands.
That was a good question, Neil. Through here. Course coordinator for 33, that's Kevin and also David Warden at the end. So you also what was that?
Hi. So I'm at 26. We had an issue with too many volunteers showing up.
I believe that's illegal to say.
We had them lined up along the entire thing, and the problem was that we found that it actually made it less efficient.
Absolutely.
So the 5 were great, but we had like 8 or 9. So we ended up, I don't remember how we dealt with it, but would it be better to pull some of those people off, just hold them and use them just to exchange them with people so that they can take breaks and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, because you're going to be on the higher end this year. It's not going to be the 4 or 5. So I would put people, you can have more people calling out numbers. You can have more people, you could have 2 people at the entrance, 2 people parking vehicles. Just have I know, I see what you're saying. Like you don't want to crowd things out, but just maybe have more pairing up.
And we're tripping over each other, basically.
Got it. Yeah. In that point, yeah. I think at that point, you put them at the exchange point itself and you're just keeping people off the road.
And of course, at night, we didn't have enough volunteers. So
we
couldn't even give breaks because we literally, we could barely cover everybody.
Exactly. No, that's great. I've been involved in this race for a while. That's the first time that's a good one. Too many volunteers. I like that.
They can come out to my area anytime they want.
Exactly.
I'll take as many as you want to send me.
Yeah, if you do have a surplus, once again, talk with your course coordinator. They might be able to use a hand in a different area as well.
Yes, please.
Yeah, the balance was good at night, even though it was short.
Yeah.
We could have used a couple just so we could do rotation. But yeah, it was kind of overwhelming. It really threw the balance off, but we got it worked out. It was nice to just have the right number of people relaying back and forth. It would have been helpful to maybe have an extra radio because it's such a long turn there for the vehicles. So we kind of need a radio at the beginning and end, and then of course a way to coordinate between them so that we know where our empty spots are. But we kept it moving pretty fast. So got a lot of compliments from people that we kept things didn't get stuck. Or at least we tried to keep it that way.
Love that. It's so cool.
I know the bigger exchanges could always use more volunteers. So if you ever have extras, you can send them to any of the bigger sleeping exchanges.
Absolutely. In fact, we did add a few at those. In fact, too many, because now we're trying to find volunteers for leg 13. So thanks, Henry.
How do we keep those people that if we do send them to a different exchange, how do we make sure that they get counted?
Well, I think so. Let's not just send people to different exchanges. Let's talk to the course coordinator and have them make that determination. But
okay, so you guys will make sure they get counted.
Exactly. So I keep seeing Johanna on here, so I'm going to just keep using that example. But you're at exchange 11, you get there, there's 500 volunteers. You tell her, what do I do? She's going to tell you where to deploy those and then how to have them sign in at each exchange. Good questions.
One of the other problems I've had at 18 is I only have one radio on me. I only can be on one station.
Yep.
And people are always looking for me and can't find me because I'm all over that.
For sure.
Exchange. Is there a way we can fix that?
Honestly,
something we can do to help out with that?
That's very tough. So, Chad, do you know off the top of your head how many radios they should be getting at 18? Is that 3 or 4?
Oh, 18.
More than that.
Yeah, they should get more than that. But they'll always be an odd number. So there's always one for main and then there's extra for the inter-exchange frequencies.
Okay. So in theory, what you could do is have somebody, an assistant with you with a radio that's on main, and then you could have yours set to the exchange point itself. Who asked that question? Where are you?
I'm right here, Henry.
Oh, Henry. Okay. Yeah, I think that might be the best bet, especially at a major van exchange, since you have that many radios, is have an assistant with you and just have them always on main so that if we need to get a hold of you, they can just they can come grab you, or they'll be right next to you, and then you're in contact with the exchange itself the whole time.
All right, sounds good.
That's a really good question.
Yeah, I just know I had a lot of complaints last year about not being able to get a hold of me with how 18 was running, so that's why I was asking that.
Yeah, I would say when you get there, if there's enough volunteers at each exchange, just every one of you grab an assistant right away and just have them with you the whole time.
Well, and last year we were also missing an exchange leader, which made it hard on us too. So I was kind of running both the parking and the exchange.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's not the easiest thing to do for one person.
So that's why you're an exchange leader. Leader is the key word there.
That's great. Right, but there's multiple of us, not just one.
No, that's great. Well, thank you all so much. This is very, very good. I think we'll say one last time, just in case. Does anyone else have one last question, just in case you just came on? If not, we're gonna shut it down and we're gonna email this out to everybody this week. Thank you. This is a good group.
Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it. Can't wait to see you all out there.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, thank you.
Adios.
Bye.
I'm looking forward to this. It's my 4th year.
Yes.
Yep.